Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Peter Coriddi. And we're going to be discussing his incredible autobiography, A Walk in the Light. It's Amazon, it's a lot of other places. Do yourself a favor. Simply type it into a search bar, man, because you're going to be greeted with all of it. And I promise you, once we begin discussing this book, you're going to understand why it's one you need to add to your shelf. Before I go any further, I want to quickly point out the fact that Peter was brought to us by Author Reputation Press. So for my writers out there listening in, if you've gone through your process, and I get it, man, you now need some assistance moving that masterpiece you just developed. You spent sleepless nights, and now you're at that crossroad. Head on over to authorreputationpress.com and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is equipped to help you do just that. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Peter here on the line. People, what if your struggles and stumbles and all of the adversity that you're hitting, what if they weren't signs that you were off of the path, but we're actually part of it? See, listen, in his book, A Walk in the Light, Peter, he reframes the entire spiritual journey through that powerful lens. And trust me when I tell you, man, it is so powerful. People, I have mentioned a number of times in previous occasions, perception is so key. And I remember being very young. And yet, listen, I was faking it, boy, until I made it. I'll tell you that much. But I was looking at all of the negativity that was around. I was looking at the adversity that I was experiencing. And at some point in my 20s, it clicked. And I started to shift the perception to understand that even in some of these dark moments, there was light to be found. There were lessons to be gained. And that perception, that shift was so meaningful. It was so powerful. And that's what Peter's here to discuss, right? He's here to talk about the findings, the sacred in the secular, the lessons hidden in our consequences. Get ready for a conversation that is as thought-provoking as it is uplifting. And listen, hopefully at the end of it, you purchase the book, you read it, and then maybe you're inspired to share your story as well. Let's get into it, man. Here we go. Peter, first and foremost, welcome to the network, and thank you for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing real well, sir.
Beautiful.
Glad to be here.
Well, listen, Peter, we're glad to have you, man. I think what you've done is promising. I think what you've done is going to inspire a lot of other people to, like I mentioned, share their story, but also deepen their faith, understand the valuable lessons that we can receive day in and day out, even in some of our most trying times. And I think that is key to all of this. Let's jump right in, Peter. I want to know about the book, but it's an autobiography. I'm going to learn about you at the same time. So tell us a little bit more about your book, A Walk in the Light.
Okay. Well, book on Walk in the Light is one where it's walking on a path in the light, hopefully. That's what we strive to do, or I try to do. And sometimes there's times when we all, just like myself, walk into darkness. And the biggest thing to look at is that we need to look at the darkness as God always provides a detour. All we have to do is turn back around to the light and step back towards Him. And for a lot of us, sometimes that's hard to do because we're so focused on something that keeps driving us to the dark.
Right.
And if we would just pay attention, open our minds and our heart, to look back and say, I was in the light. No, I'm not. Something's up. And that detour will be there for you to say, turn around, come back to me, come back to me.
Peter, listen, man, I want to, and this I think is going to get to the heart of the book. So maybe we're a little early on going there, but I do think it's important, man. And I can't shy away from it because it's right there in the title. And I think it's so appropriately termed because, listen, man,
Yeah.
a walk in the light, and the operative term here being walk. Whew, that is powerful in a sense when you really stop and look at it, because especially in the day and age that we're currently in, where technology is dominating the world and it's only going to be more and more embedded in our lives. But the point here is we are used to receiving things instantly, right? Like we don't have to wait anymore. We go online, we're able to order whatever it is that we want. It's shipped to us within a day or two, right? Everything is at our fingertips. Titling your book, A Walk in the Light, I think is important. And again, I might be assuming here, but I want to ask anyway. Was there ever a time throughout your journey where, listen, man, you didn't even feel like you were walking anymore? I know a lot of us want to run. Like we want to just get things moving. But was there ever a time where you weren't even walking anymore? It felt like you were maybe crawling, to use this analogy here. And how did you reshape your understanding of the light in those times?
One of the things I've noticed, of walking is that primary word, because I've done a lot of walking. And sometimes that's it. I've walked, and you easily get distracted. And the whole idea is to keep focused on what I'm doing, moving forward. Just in that focus and looking at that light and thinking of Him helps speed the process up. As you said, with today's day and time, where things moving that fast, walking doesn't move that fast.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most primary of all. It's in walking, it slows things down, because as you walk, your mind is working. You're not on all the devices that you have around you. You can focus purely on your walk, where you're going, and focusing on God and listening to what He is basically, that light is over you for. Why was that light here? What is going on in that time? And following it. And if you wander off that path into the darkness again, that's you come back, because you're taking it over yourself. You're taking it away from Him and say, I'm going to go do this. And His idea is to always be aware there is a detour probably right in front of you. Pay attention where you are and take that turn back to Him and continue walking. Because in walking as well, I know as I do my walks, literally I go out and I will see people, and that would be maybe His focus. He'll say, go talk to that person. Or go over and talk with them, see how they're doing, whether it seems like they're a little off and something going on. So they'll talk with me about it, and we'll discuss it and try to come up with an answer. If not, we'll say, I will pray for you. And hopefully you can get a connection with them and say, if you don't mind, if you want, if you need someone to talk to, if I could get your number, I'd be glad to talk with you, and we can work through this and see what we can do to help. And that way that person then is brought into the light and moving along with you just as well. And that's the idea, is picking up more and more as you walk. And again, that walk without the electronics. The electronics are fine, but it's the idea that you want to focus on the person, not the devices.
Yeah. Well, listen, Peter, I'm right there with you, man. And I feel like it's harder and harder to do that with the life that we live in. Everything is attached to these devices that are always an arm's length away, right? And that's for another discussion for another time. Peter, you write in your book about the consequences, in learning from the consequences that you've experienced. Let's dive into that next, man. Can you describe, because again, because naturally what your book is going to do and what this discussion is going to have us doing is reflecting. I know that everybody listening in right now, as I am myself, I'm listening to you speak and I'm already looking internally. I'm already going through the Rolodex of memories and experiences and seeing different moments of adversity and different consequences that I faced and what I was able to learn from that. Talk to us. Can you describe the process of going through one of these painful consequences that you've experienced that may have looked like a failure in the moment, but over time actually ended up being a cornerstone of your spiritual foundation?
Oh, yeah. Can I speak from the book itself in some respect?
Yes, please.
Because I have one. Okay. What had happened is many years ago, my best friend, who I've known for many years, he worked in a grocery store. And all of a sudden I got a call one day that said that somebody had robbed their store and they have shot his dad. and they have also killed him. That's all they said. And they said, and we're at the hospital and such. So I went to the hospital, and I was just completely tore up.
Yeah, of course.
And I was thinking I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm beside myself. And the consequence was I was going way off in the dark. We're talking deep darkness. And when I got there to the hospital and I walked in the door, the guys looked at me and came over. I was ready to just unload. And they came over to me and hugged me and said, "We forgave him. We forgave the man that shot our brother." And when I looked at them, I fell on my knees and said, "Oh, Lord, here I'm going off so deep into the dark that I was just completely losing myself and not thinking what was going on." And they later explained more about it. They said what happened was he was delivering groceries. He came back into the store, and as he walked in, he saw the robbers and whatnot going on. And one of the kids that was in front of him had hit the gumball machine. And when it stirred the gumball machine, the person with the gun turned towards the noise. At that same exact instant, he stepped in front of the children and took it himself. He sacrificed his life to save those kids. And that was, wow. So here I was all tied up into just being so out of it. And what I should have been looking at was that was something that was more to that. So my consequence was going off the deep instead of saying, well, the good consequence, and listening back on this, is he made the choice. That was a good consequence that he did, and I should have recognized that at that point. Thankfully, my best friend sacrificed himself in order to save somebody else.
Peter, thank you very much for sharing that. And listen, here's the unfortunate thing is I think a lot of us have stories similar to that. We have experiences similar to that where something tragic has happened, but it's showcased and really has probably been the most powerful education we could have received. So thank you very much for showcasing it. And because here's another thing, when you're going through those memories, you're almost reliving the experience to a certain extent. So I appreciate the vulnerability that you were able to show and the strength that you were able to possess. People, I'm telling you, this is a book you need to add to your shelf. We went into a quick memory there from the book, but I promise you, we've barely scratched the surface. Head on over to Amazon, purchase your copies of A Walk in the Light today, because this is one you're going to be able to learn so much from. As we are moving on and transitioning here, Peter, I want to take an opportunity here, and I want to talk to the skeptics out there, because of course they're always there, but I do believe that it's important to reach them here at this moment, man. For the skeptic that feels they're not walking in the light, they feel like they're walking in the dark. What is the one insight from your journey that you believe echoes in every human heart, regardless of their faith, that can assist them in their moment?
Assisting in their moment to walk back into the light. One of the things I would say maybe in discussing with them is what is it that's causing them to be pulled into the darkness, and having them explain what they have going on within themselves, and then standing there with them and say, okay, there is a better way. If you would turn back to the light, back to God, let's discuss some ideas of what is really going on with what you're doing, and see if we can't help you, lift you out of all of that and away from where you're being pulled into, and come back to where you can feel safe, you can feel cared for and lifted up. And that's the one thing that is the hardest thing for a person to do, is that. But just have trust in God and the person that you're with. They're trying to help bring you back out of what you're going through, what you're suffering and dealing with, and let him have some of that he can take that suffering on as well and try to help you through it.
Peter, thank you. I love the way you posed that. And your book offers, like you mentioned, right? You're asking your readers, as well as our listeners here during today's discussion, you're asking for a lot of introspection. You're asking for us to look inward, right? And to really examine it. And I think that's key, right? Listen, you're working through a process. You got to understand how you got there to begin with, so that this way you don't run into those same issues again in the future. And in your book, you offer a lot of introspective questions for the believer, for the reader. As you were writing this book and you were writing those questions, I'm curious to know, who was the you that you were speaking to? Were you addressing your younger self almost, a skeptical seeker, a wary believer? Who were you posing these questions to, aside from just, of course, generically, the reader of your book?
To myself, yeah, that kind of puts it back on, like you said, onto myself, and thinking back over that and then turning that back around to the reader and getting their input, their thoughts, their introspection of what they see and what they would do. And yes, I've seen that many a time. I'll go through something and feel like, okay, I feel better. I see the light is there, but it still needs some work on some time, needs some time to keep working through it. But to keep working through it until you can come to a conclusion of some sort that is best for you. And if you cannot seem to find it within yourself, then you yourself need to go and find a family member, a religious person, somebody that can actually talk with you and work you through it.
Yeah. When people listen, that's the message, right? That's the theme of the day here, is to always remember, like, the goal isn't to avoid the shadows that we have on our path, but it's to trust the light that guides you through them. And listen, man, in the moment, the last thing you want to do is go through it, right? You got to go through it to get through it. And I know it's easier said than done, but there are treasures to be found. There's wisdom to be gained by working through that.
No, that's the whole idea. That's the hardest part, is working through it, because your mind keeps telling you, no, I've had enough. I'm going to back out of this. No, I don't want this. I don't want this. But you got to step on top of it and say, no, I am the one that's in control of this, not you. And let's keep moving forward and pressing on to do the best we can, take care of whatever it is we're dealing with.
Absolutely. Listen, like life, it's a journey, man. And right now, this part of the journey is leading you to Amazon to purchase this amazing book, man, because I'm telling you, I really did. And joking aside, like, I really do mean, for everybody listening in, I hope your walk is filled with a little more light and a little more clarity today because of this discussion. And to continue that, you got to purchase your copies of A Walk in the Light. It is going to be amazing for you. It's going to be such a beneficial gift for you to get and add to someone else's shelf as well. So head on over there, purchase your copies today. Peter, listen, man, a huge thank you for being here with us to discuss all of this, for the wonderful gems that you've been able to relay. And once again, thank you for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you very much.